Hello, YouTube. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I have an update or Chevy 2021 Barton Carvana. Got it back from the dealership earlier today. As you can hear, tick, 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 tick. There's still that sound. Dealership, they had it for a week. They did a tear down. Pretty much, they did initial diagnostics, said they put the stethoscope on. It sounded like whatever the issue was, it was coming from inside the engine. So they needed an additional hour diagnostic to check inside the engine. So they said they took the cover off. Some of the rat feces that was there, it's now gone. There was a whole bunch of rat feces lining there. They said they took the cover off, looked inside. They said the shop foreman looked as well, and everything looks great. Now, I don't know if I should be worried or happy. Worried because the ticking sound is still there. And what they concluded, they suggested changing the oil to make sure it's the right viscosity and the approved oil, which Carvana had just changed the oil. So I'm like, hey man, the oil was just changed. I doubt that makes any difference. And then at the same time, they concluded that the sound was normal. So I'm like, well, why do I need to change the oil if it's normal? And why did you need to tear the engine down if it's normal? But I guess just to make sure, they wanted to get inside and look. They looked over it. The most experienced technicians there looked over it. Everything looks great. So I hope that's good news. The truck drives great. I mean, I feel like it drives okay. At least from my experience of driving cars, it just feels normal, I think. The shutter, they mentioned the transmission. I think I still feel a little bit of that. Again, I'm not an expert. It feels okay for the most part still. And you can see some nice Continentals on this one compared to the cheap rip-off tires I had on the Ford Expedition Max. Hey, stay tuned. I have a video coming on the Ford Expedition Max. Oh boy, it doesn't get any better. I'm thinking I have to send back that truck. The issues are kind of piling up, and still no full solution. But anyway, so 2 hours diagnostic done in this thing. I had to pay 170 something per hour. Carvana, they said I had to pay my out of pocket, which was 300 and something. Pretty much, they only had to Silver Rock rather. They ended up paying just, what was it, $9 something. I had to pay the out of pocket, which was 300 and something, $300 and some. But anyway, I started to add my little touches here and there. Got some Maguire going on the sides. We now have our WeatherTech mat. I'm letting it kind of set in. Then I'll need to glue on the back there. But yeah, I'm working on it, starting to finally add my personal touches. The truck drives like a dream. Absolutely love it. If you want one, I say go get it. However, they're a little bit, I don't think the Suburban is as family friendly as the Ford Expedition is. You can see it got me WeatherTech mats there. I'm not sponsored. Hey, it would be great if they sponsor. I doubt they will, but anyway. WeatherTech, I want the best. I want to keep it, want to take care of it, treat it right. I feel like it would take care of me. Um, but anyway, so yeah, I'm here. Transmission replace, differential replace, ready to replace, engine mounts replace, engine pulled apart. Says it looks good. Great. Hopefully that's the case. But I was saying a little bit more family friendly. I think the Expedition is, because with the Expedition, this seat comes up, and leans forward, so a car seat can stay in place. But for the Suburban, I can only do this. Well, now you have a situation there. Because that has to go down. Front seat is probably a little bit too far back. But you can see here now, to get this up, I have to do that. And then, I don't know if this is how this should be. Again, you buy a used car, rental car, God knows, you find little nuggets here and there, indicating how well or how poorly it may have been taken care of. But yeah, I like that the Expedition, I like how they do, ah, I like how they do this second row much better. Even the third row, it's more family friendly, more kids friendly. You can see the other side is probably a little worse. It's broken, I think. You can see it here. I mean, I doubt that's how it should look, but hey, you buy a used car, especially a used rental car, it's been used. You just never know what you're gonna get. You sometimes get very lucky, sometimes not so much. Um, but I think that's, it's like a love hate relationship with Carvana at this point, and I can't blame them, of course, because you buy a used car, you never know you're gonna get, and then Carvana, I mean, they buy the cars, they do their inspections. They're not gonna find everything. You have due diligence that you have to go through everything with a fine comb just to make sure it's ideal. But unlike a dealership, you can go in and see all those things. That's where the disadvantage is with Carvana, that you can't do that. You have to take it. But then you could consider it an advantage as well, because they give you 7 days, which is ridiculous. 7 days, 400 miles to actually do that. Go through it. You don't like it, send it back. So it's good that they offer that, but to each his own. You keep finding little things, but you have 7 days to do that. If you drive off a lot with the dealership, that's it. You go back. Those sales guys, they don't want to see you again. They make their money, they make their commission. It's bye bye. Very rarely you'll find a good one who will be willing to address anything after you've driven off the lot. Once you've signed those papers and you're gone, they're done with you for life. Or well, until you come back to buy again. So yeah, it's Carvana is great. I think in terms of their efforts to really help customers. When I reached out to them, they've been supportive. Silver Rocket's a hit or miss. They may or may not approve stuff. Um, as I'm realizing with the Ford Expedition Max, I'll touch on some of those issues I'm having with that truck. I'm likely gonna have to send it back. Now I'm kind of up in the air whether I want to take a third attempt with these two pretty horrible experiences. And I say horrible with a grain of salt, because, yes, it's terrible because it's almost 2 months. I've been unable to use this truck as was intended. I mean, I've been paying insurance, I've paid monthly fee on it, I've paid to have it shipped to me, all that stuff. I've paid money, and now I'm still having to pay money. I still have to pay money just to get all this sorted out. So hopefully I can now start to enjoy it. I'm starting to do my customizations, but yeah, it's a challenging one. I think ideally, if Carvana were selling like new cars, oh my goodness, no one would go to the dealership anymore, because you don't have to do all that headache. The price is what it is. You can see it. If you like it, you buy it, you get it. Don't like it, send it back. But with a dealership, it's a nightmare, of course, in its own way. But at least you can see the car. Most times those cars are, more sorted. They've seen the issues, had more time to address it a little better, maybe. So yeah, it's a tough one. Do you research the history of the car? Maybe not a rental car like I took the chance with this one. Single owner, clean Carfax, even though not everything is shown on the Carfax. But for the most part, if it looks clean, looks like it's been taken care of, you might just get lucky and come through on the better end of it. And then Carvana, they do have that 100 days, 100 days, 1,000, 4,000 mile warranty. So if there's anything serious, at least there's a chance. But then you have to take the risk of them approving or not approving, So to each his own. Please share your experience. If you've bought if you've bought a car in Carvana, if you're thinking about it, what your experience has been. If you had a great experience, I'd love to hear it. I'm all about the positivity, even in spite of all these challenges. Share your experience, good or bad. Are you planning to buy from Carvana? What are some advice when buying from Carvana? Suggestions going forward? Any little upgrades you've done to your truck that you could recommend to make it look better, make it drive better? It's a nice truck. I'm gonna love this truck. I hope to put another 200,000 miles on this thing at least, if not 500. I want to take care of it, treat it right, and hopefully it'll treat me great. But you can see the bumpers. The bumper was replaced. Again, this was all scuffed up, scratched up. They took care of it. So as upsetting or time consuming as things have been, these past month, 2 months back and forth trying to figure things out, try to get this truck up and running. You know, I now have a clean wood. They honored their word. They got it repaired. No scratches and stuff. That was refinished. The ding on the side, had a ding here. Two dings were on here. They got that replaced. So those cosmetic things. The disadvantage in all of this is that you have to be the one to get up and around, go to these different places. You have to Uber if you don't have someone to take you. You have to set the time to go pick up, you know, drop off, pick up, you know, talk to Carvana, start the process. The handles, this was shown, this was disclosed, so you know, I didn't make a big deal out of it. It was disclosed in the pictures on Carvana. But for separate from that, I mean, the truck is pretty much perfect. You know, again, comparisons, license, compared to this Expedition rather. Again, I like the automatic fold on the Expedition. I just noticed that I'm not seeing a button to open the trunk from inside the cabin. Now, if you know, if I'm missing something there, let me know. But I see nothing to open the trunk from the cabin, which is kind of a bummer. That would be nice. That would be a nice addition. Now, I might be able to use the key if I'm in the car, yes, but it would have been nice. The Expedition now, again, that's in the Expedition. I don't know if it's in all the Expedition models, but in the limited 2020 model that I have, Expedition Max, that was there. Also, you can see this has heated seats, uh, but no ventilation. Also, this has no heated steering, which, you know, may not be a bad thing. You know, not necessarily a deal breaker. Also, for some reason, 2021, when this truck was made, parts were short, so they didn't have the start-stop feature, which I'm not opposed to. You know, I think that adds more wear and tear on the engine and the engine components. So I would rather it not being there. So I think that's a good thing, not that I don't have. But yeah, again, I prefer how the Suburban drives. I like the features more on the Expedition. I got a nice panoramic sunroof on the Expedition. That's nice. I mean, it's there if I need it. Probably I won't use it that much anyway, but it's there. It's an option. The power folded boards window I mentioned, the power folding sliding board on the Expedition is nice. This one, it just stuck out all the time. It's not going anywhere. And I don't know that if you're going on a higher trim, maybe there's a power one there on the higher trim. But some of those are the touches. The Expedition, I think, is a little bit more refined. I prefer how this drives compared to the Expedition. If I could get this drive in the Expedition, that would be the perfect car. Get this drivetrain swapped out with the Expedition, and then the Expedition, the turbo kicking, you know, and the turbo kicks in. It's a smooth drivetrain, but the suspension aspect of it, I prefer the Suburban. Suburban feels more comfortable and more commanding. But like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the notification button. I'll have more coming. I'll keep you posted as we go on embark on this journey. You know, I have cars, you know, many cars, stories to tell, with insights as to what my ownership experience is. So hopefully you can learn from it. You know, share what your experiences are, so we can both learn together. In fact, so yeah, follow for more, subscribe, like, share. See you in the next one. Bye bye.